My name is Misty Bowers, and I am an 8th grade ELA art teacher, and I've been a teacher for the past 3 years. I'll start my 4th year in just a few weeks. So I'm a second career teacher. I went the alternative certification route. So I tell everybody I'm an old new teacher. But I'm very excited to learn and to learn new ways to reach my students and to learn new ways of teaching and to I'm excited about all of the ways that I can expand my knowledge and be a better teacher for my kids. I think it is important for students to see themselves in what they read, especially at smaller campuses such as the one that I teach at. It's a small rural campus. We tend to see the same literature, the same things, especially with our TEKS changing a little bit with our self-selected text. I think it's important that we have books and texts and stories that show all different kinds of people. I think it's important that students see themselves in what they read. It's my goal as a teacher, and has been from the beginning, to really see the students, to know my students, to know who they are, and even those who either have chosen to be invisible or have just always felt invisible. I don't want them to leave my class thinking that I don't know who they are and I haven't seen them. And so just as I think that's important, I think bringing them literature and bringing them stories where they can see themselves is important as well. It helps them not to feel quite so alone. And on the other hand, of that same point, the other side of that same coin, I think it's important for students to not only see themselves in what they read, but to see this great big world that's different from anything they've ever experienced. I think that's what opens them up to dream big and to see maybe people in a way that they haven't thought of before, to see differences in a way that they've never experienced before. And so using literature and text and stories in that way, I think, is important as well, because not only are we allowing students to be seen through that and for them to kind of hold this book up as a mirror, but also for them to see, a world that they've never experienced. And maybe they never will outside of a book, but at least for a little bit, they've got a taste of it. And I think that's really important as well. As far as technology goes, we've kind of been forced into using more and more technology, especially with the pandemic right now. We've used, of course, Google Classroom and the Google platform and Google Slides, which can be very interactive. I try to use things like Flipgrid as well as ClassFlow for its interactive abilities, and I think that's important for the students to work with. My school is a it's a one-to-one campus, and so our kids all have access to computers. I've noticed that each class tends to be a little bit different. Some of them really don't like using the computers, and others love it. So I think it's important that we use those platforms, get them used to it, because this is the world that they're living in. And especially with literature and reading, I've certainly not an expert, but I'm learning again. But like ways that they can build comic strips online, storyboards, ways that they can do projects that would be visible and tangible, and ebooks and things like that would bring that element of technology into a finished product that they can see that they have completed and done themselves. So one of the reasons I am interested in and wanting to get my reading specialist certification is, number one, I just want to continue to learn to be a better teacher. I want to learn how to help my students in any way that I can. And then I also, in our campus, we use a lot of, or we don't use, we we tend to put a lot of kids in the dyslexia program, and maybe that's perfectly normal, but I mean a really lot for the small campus that we have. And so part of me wonders if there's a real learning disability or if there are just gaps that we need to fill. And so I kind of would like to be someone who can kind of stand in the gap, so to speak, and say, okay, well, let's try this and see if maybe this is just something that they didn't understand. Maybe last year their teacher didn't quite cover it in a way, and we can take care of that before we start placing labels and things that may not quite fit. And, you know, I just want to have a better understanding of what's right for the kids and how to help them go from, you know, I don't like to read, I've never been a good reader, to, you know what, let's use your unique abilities and your unique learning style and experiences to help you move beyond this and figure out where it is that you're struggling and move beyond it and see that you can accomplish really great things. I'd also like to be a help to my coworkers as well. So, you know, I want to continue being a lifelong learner and learn what I can to be the best teacher I can be and to help my students, but also to help my coworkers and administration as well. Thank you.